Guys, welcome back to today's video. So today we're discussing giving birth in the UK and in the US, the cost, the difference between the two, the whole process and everything. I gave birth to 2 children in the UK and I have my friend here who has also given birth in the US as well. So we're discussing the difference. I really want to know personally, I'm interested in this because when I was pregnant for my last child, I got some people advising me to go to the US to have my baby, and I didn't really see the need to, but maybe after we are done with this video, then we might understand better. I'm going to let my special guest introduce herself, then we can get started.
Hi guys, my name is Crystal Ijewo, and I currently reside in Houston, Texas, United States of America.
Welcome, Crystal. Crystal was my uni, so Crystal is a lawyer. Welcome, and
thank you.
I'm so glad to have you here. Now, let's just start from the pregnancy process. How do you do it? Like when you discover that you're pregnant, what's the process like?
First of all, once you find out you're pregnant, you would have the conversation with your primary care provider, and they would either recommend an OBGYN to you, or you would choose an OBGYN of your choice. And then the journey continues from there.
Okay, for the UK, it's the same thing. You would inform your GP, and then they would connect you to a midwife, and then the midwife takes over from there for all your appointments and everything. So it's almost the same thing. You go to the hospital sometimes, and then to the midwife's place sometimes. So yeah. So at that point, do you make any payments? That's from the point of you calling your primary care provider and then the antenatal process.
Okay, so pregnancy in the US is a bit the way it goes, the financial aspect is a bit tricky. Why? Because first of all, if you have a health insurance, you factor in whether your health insurance covers pregnancy or not. It's something we call Medicaid in the US. It's like a federal government insurance, which is available to low-income earners or people who are unemployed in the US. So that provision is made for them. So if you have your health insurance and it covers your pregnancy, from that point, I think you're going to have an idea what the cost of the pregnancy is going to be. So your insurance could pay a part, if not everything. Okay? Your insurance could cover the cost of your pregnancy or cover a greater percentage, maybe like 80% of the cost of your pregnancy, while you pay the rest. That's your copay, maybe the remaining 20%. But if you're covered by Medicaid, you don't get to pay.
Okay. So are there any, like you are working in the US, are there any incentives for pregnant women or something like that?
Okay, none that I'm aware of. None that I'm aware of. Like I mentioned earlier, the benefits available to pregnant women are for people who are low-income earners, or if you don't have a job. So Medicaid is like the benefit, in quotes, available to pregnant women who are low-income earners or who can afford, health insurance. There are also other health insurances too that are affordable, like the Obamacare, right? Where you don't get to like pay so much on a monthly basis. Those ones to cover your pregnancy expenses. Yeah. So nobody's paying you for being pregnant in the US. It doesn't happen here. Yeah.
But the UK, for the UK, once you're pregnant, you will get free prescription. You're entitled to free dental care. And you're entitled to free dental care, and then you get free prescriptions as well. Because when you go to a pharmacy to get drugs, there's something they give, and then you tick the one that suits your condition or your circumstance the most. And they have like for children, for pregnant women, and then I think for people above 60 years and above, right? So pregnant women are exempt from paying for that. Let's now go to the very important one, and that is the cost of giving birth in the US. Because we said, like, I really want to know. And then people say, oh, US is the best place to live in. It's this, it's that, the opportunities, everything. I remember after making a video about the difference of what I think, to me, my opinion about living in the UK and the US, somebody just said, you just came here to tell us why US is the best. And I'm like, you people, after everything like that about the UK, you are still saying US is the best. Okay. Right. So, what does it cost to give
Um,
birth? Yes.
First of all, I'm going to say that US is a great place to live in, and I'm not saying it just because I live in the US. And I can't compare living in the US to living in the UK because I've not lived in the UK before, right? But when it comes to the cost of pregnancy, I would like to think that you guys have it better in the UK. Why? Because healthcare in the US is expensive, especially if you don't have a health insurance. I mean, even people who have health insurance still complain about the cost of healthcare, especially the cost of having to pay your copay after your insurance covers about 80% of your medical bills, right? So narrowing it down to pregnancy, it differs from state to state. I will start from there. The cost of having your baby in the US differs from one state to another. And I can only speak for the state of Texas. And while at that, my figures might not be 100% accurate, but you also factor in the type of insurance you're using. So in as much as your health insurance will cover a major part, if not all, of the cost of the process, the pregnancy through delivery and the postnatal care, when you have a private insurance, right, most of the time they cover the total cost of your medical bill while pregnant, during delivery and afterwards. If you're using your Medicaid, all through your prenatal visits, your Medicaid covers all of those costs. Your delivery, postnatal care. In some states, even after your delivery, you still are entitled to use Medicaid for over a year or two after you have your baby. I have a friend who came to the US to have her baby from Nigeria, and she didn't have a health insurance, obviously. So she had to pay roughly about 13K to have her baby here.
Wow.
Now, I also made a call to a friend, another friend, who had her baby in Texas through CS with her health insurance. She paid about 13K. Now, this includes the prenatal visits, the delivery, postnatal visits, hospital care, and, all of those things, right? Now, I know someone who had a vaginal delivery in another state, not in the state of Texas. And she didn't have her insurance. She didn't have her health insurance, but she paid $5K to have her baby through vaginal delivery, right? So I think there's no, I can't say, okay, this is the fixed price to have your baby in the US. It differs from state to state. Like, I think Texas is one of the most expensive states to have your babies. Like, I'm not gonna lie, because I've compared. I know someone who had her baby in Atlanta, the state of Georgia. She had her health insurance, so her out-of-pocket payment was like 3K. This is after insurance covered the pregnancy bills, right? So I think it just differs from state to state. But on a general note, it's noteworthy that CS, the cost of having a CS delivery is more expensive. I think it's the same everywhere than having a vaginal delivery. So I would say, on an average, if you're having a CS delivery, on an average, it should cost you about 11 to 13K in the state of Texas with your insurance. But without your insurance, you should be looking at maybe around 5 to 7K. Like I said, my facts are not accurate, but they just differ. You have the hospital you're having your baby in, you have the type of insurance you're using, a lot of other factors to, consider. Yeah.
I understand. Yeah, that makes sense. So so if I considered going to the US to have my baby,
Yeah.
I would have been looking for that amount of money.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So for the UK, the cost
Okay.
of having a baby in the UK
Okay.
is £0.00.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Now, this is not for people that travel, abroad to have their babies and all. No, of course, you're going to spend more. You're going to spend more money because healthcare in the West is generally expensive, right?
Yeah.
So for people that travels to that travel to US or UK or Canada to have their babies, obviously they're going to pay more. But for people who live here, who have the right to live and work in the UK, you pay your IHS fee, and after that, you don't have to pay any other thing to access the NHS. And for those that work in healthcare, they don't pay IHS fees. You just basically pay your tax, and it says that your tax covers for your healthcare, right? So whatever it is at all, except you now want to go private for some other things. But if you really want to access the NHS or wait for the NHS to attend to you or treat you or whatever, is 0.00 pounds. Okay. So for the first son I had here, I didn't pay anything from antenatal to delivery. I had a CS, everything, even all the food I had in the hospital, all the care, everything, £0. And for my second son as well, that I just had, the same thing. In fact, for my last baby, we even had he had a condition that made us stay in the hospital for about 3 weeks. We were even taken to a special children hospital, and for all his treatments and for everything, we did not pay anything. They even drove him in their children's special ambulance from here to Liverpool Hospital and everything, and we didn't have to pay a dime for that. Right?
Wow.
Yeah. So I understand when people are sentimental about healthcare in the UK being the reason why they don't want to move to the US. Is understandable, because if I know that if something like this had happened in the US or in some other country where we had to pay for it, I'm sure maybe we would have gone bankrupt or probably open a GoFundMe for people to donate for us or something if we're not able to take care of it, because we spent a lot of money, so much money. So I'm really grateful for the UK and for the NHS. Yeah, it's what it is.
Like, if you're in the UK and you're pregnant and you have access to all of these benefits, resources from the government, our advice is just take advantage of it rather than coming over to the US to spend money to have your kid, because healthcare here is something else, especially when you don't have the health coverage, whichever one it is.
The UK is not bad after all, right? I think the both countries are unique in their own way, right?
In their own
people's life choices.
Yeah.
So for your maternity leave, do you have maternity pay from the government or from your employer or something like that?
I wish we did. Okay. So, obviously, when you're on maternity leave from your place of work now, you get paid, but it's for the period your maternity leave lasts, right? And afterwards, you're expected to get back to work.
So for how long do they give maternity leave?
It differs from company to company.
Okay.
Or it's an average of 6 weeks to 4 months. Yes. An average of 6 weeks to 4 months. So you see how, I know someone who had her baby, and after 6 weeks, we're talking about 1 month and 2 weeks, she was back to work. So it depends on the company you work for. Then there are some other companies that can give you up to 3 months maternity leave, 4 months, but I think the max is 4 months in the US. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Between 6 weeks, 2 4, yeah.
Okay. So for the UK, it's 9 months paid maternity leave if you're working. Because that comes to the UK. Yes, from your employer, you're entitled to 9 months paid maternity leave from your employer. But if you're not qualified for your employer's pay, the government can pay you as well. And it's for 9 months. Okay, so whether you are working or you're self-employed and you qualify for it, is your entitlement. You're entitled to it. Paid maternity leave for 9 months. And some people even take 1 year, just that the other 3 months is unpaid. But you can take as long as 1 year maternity leave, to take care of your baby before going back to work.
Which makes a lot of sense, really. Because, come on, 6 weeks. It doesn't make any sense. You don't even have enough time to bond with your newborn and all of that, and you're expected to go back to work, And
then with the cost of childcare abroad, you have to do that.
For you guys should enjoy.
Yes. know
Mhm.
that the basic or the major advantage of having your child in the US is citizenship by birth, right?
Yeah, the blue passport, basically. And that's why most people just come here, have their kids, and leave. Because yeah, that's like a major. That is a major factor. I'm not. Yeah, that is it. The blue
That's
passport.
automatic.
Off
Automatic.
everything else. Yeah. So yeah.
But for the UK, it's not like that.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no automatic citizenship by birth for parents who are not British. In fact, so basically, the status of a child at birth is the same
Mm-hmm.
status of parents.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
except one of your parents had become a citizen at the time of your birth. That's when you
Okay.
now. If not, no citizenship by birth for children born in the UK. That's why people don't really come to the UK to give birth to their babies. People go to the US or Canada
Yeah.
or other countries.
That's right. Because regardless of the status of the parent of the child, so long as you're born on the US soil, you automatically become a US citizen. Yeah.
So one parent gets indefinite leave to remain, or
Okay.
even the citizen.
Okay.
That's when you can apply for a child born here. But
Oh.
aside that, nothing.
Now I see why
Yeah.
people against all odds decide to just come and have their kids in the US, regardless of all of that. Okay.
Yeah. So you see that people living outside these countries can easily travel to the US to give birth to their babies, and they know that automatically that baby is an American citizen.
Yeah.
Well, you can't
Yeah.
get British citizenship like that. No, you just come, spend money, and go back. That's it.
On the other hand, I think outside the citizenship thing, right? I think another reason why people decide to go travel abroad to have their kids is because they have access to better health care. Yeah, that's also, yeah, I think so. I mean, but the ultimate, at least for US, the ultimate is that blue passport. I know. Yeah, then
That passport is the
the
major factor.
ultimate, yeah, it is. Yeah.
The thing is, for my case, even if I had gone, I don't think there would have really been a much difference me coming to have a child in the US, because once my husband gets his ILR, my children born here would automatically qualify for citizenship. So
Okay.
there's not much difference. They'll have a British passport at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, guys, that's it. You know the difference between giving birth in the UK and giving birth in the US, and we just intended to share to enlighten people who don't know, and just to give you guys the update so that you will know what's up.
Mm.
So thank you, Crystal, for coming. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, and thank you everyone for watching. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.
Bye.